Insurance Department is 205-271-2966, or go to the website, EWTN. Good to have you. And what's your question?
Well, I have two short ones. The first question is, you mentioned before about the fear of the Lord, and then, but I mean, this is basic, but I still have trouble with the fear of the Lord, and but I want to do things that please the Lord. I don't want to just do things in fear that I'm going to hell.
Sure.
And it makes me crazy because I really want to love Jesus and do things good for Jesus, but I don't, you know.
All right, now Tom, let me ask you a question. Did you grow up with your dad and your mom?
Yes.
Did you ever have any doubts that they loved you? Did you believe that they loved you?
Yes.
Yeah, so did I. And you know, my parents, I knew my parents loved me. But they, especially when you know you're an infant, the love is unconditional. But by 2 years old, I think probably earlier, I don't remember earlier, but certainly by 2 years old, parents also have to instill in their children, in that basic matrix of unconditional love, you also have to instill in them a fear, do you not?
Yes.
Yeah, I say, boy, if you walk into that street, I'm going to wear you out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, does that mean you stop loving the child?
No.
No, of course not. And does the kid might say, they never let me do anything. I can't even go running in the street, even though I'm 2 years old. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, oh, well, you know, he really wants to play in the street, so I think it's okay. No, you may say, I told you. You do that, I'm going to tan your bottom.
Mm.
And that's what they say, okay, you know, and they try it, of course, and then you tan their bottom, and then they say, okay, Dad means it. And then later on, when they are older and wiser and realize no cars could see me running in the street if I'm a little kid. So it was to save my life. Now, at the moment, that fear of you made no sense, and it's just not fair, and I don't like it. And they whine and say no, and all the stuff that little kids do. But as they mature, they realize that fear was brought to me also because of the love for me that was beyond my comprehension. I could not understand what their love meant. And only the fear, and then I survived being 2 and into adulthood, and then I could understand how much they love me. And I think this is one of the things that goes on with God. That's why the scripture says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And then from that, you can go on to realize that doing what he tells us and having a certain fear of him is, in the larger context, part of his love. And as we mature, then we, again, when we become older children, I didn't treat my parents with respect because I was afraid they're going to spank me again. You know, I was bigger than my mom, you know, in my 30s. I did show my mother respect because I loved her. That was the reason. But I learned it the hard way sometimes. You know, that talking back to mom or ever using bad words, that was, the picture in my mind was of dead meat, you know, from early on. But then I realized from that fear came the value of doing it because this is, I know they love me and I love them too. And that's the transition that we make. That's part of the maturing process in our relationship with our parents and our relationship with God. Does it make sense? Oh, he's off there. All right. Oh,